Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today, I'm here with a Draconic Empire deck profile, which will be focusing on Bavsargra, um, which I have just tested, and I think so far I'm quite comfortable with this build. So I'm sharing with you guys first. I do have other builds coming up, like the Overdress build for Nirvana. I have Sogar, um, and also have other stuff that is coming up. So stay tuned for that. And I did get a chance to record some fight videos. I still need to check them. Then, if they're good, then I will showcase them as well. Now, uh, quickly just show you the right line while I still talk about something else. Is we are still using the starter right line. Unfortunately, I only pull off the SPs, and my focus is on Sogar. If talking about SP, so I didn't spend extra money on the uh, 0, 2, and 3 SPs. Even if I'm going to buy, I probably will just buy these 3, one of each, and not fully blink the deck, but that's another story. Now, so far, this is still the right line that we should be using, because we do want to make sure we get at least one equipment into our hand. Maybe we hide metal again another one, so we are guaranteed 2, but that's not always the case. So the great one is always important because we are not playing premium. So with the ride deck, we always get to ride what we want to ride. Then we can pick up the sword or the shield depending on the situation, what we have in our hand, and pick the one that fits you the most. Yeah. And grade 2 is basically just turn the right line action cost becomes 0 because you ditch the equipment and then you get them back, so you don't waste anything. And of course, Bavsargra is our main girl for the deck, so we need to use her, and of course she's always good. At first, when we only have a starter, she isn't working very well. She does have some good stuff, but with only one type of each of equipment, we can't do a lot of things. But now we do have 2 more, and that actually changes a lot of stuff. And with other support, which makes the deck a lot stronger, in my opinion. So far it's actually quite fun to play. If you are not having fun with Grade 4s and you still love Personal Ride, this is probably a good build that you prefer to play with. And going to the main deck, first we do have 3 more Bavsargra because we don't want the soul, we want the Personal Ride plus 10k to the front row. If not, that's not always a way to pump your front row unit. So Personal Ride is still quite important here. And again, the soul is also quite important here, because you will be soul blasting a lot more than before, which having an extra soul by rewriting definitely help. And then you equip another equipment, you get another soul, which makes your second skill to soul blast 2 pop the front row while you have 2 equipment and gain crit a lot more easier to do, which is very important right here. Okay, and next we are running for this new card, which is I think it's called Adara. So this is a grade 3, it's a double rare that we are given for the set, and this card is so important to this deck. I do suggest you to run for. If you are looking for cards to upgrade your starter, make sure you keep this in mind. And this is just a very important card right here. Let me zoom in. Okay, there we go. So when this card appears on a regular circle, if your Vanguard only have 1 equipment, you can counterblast 1, and then you can pick a equipment from your hand or your drop zone and just equip it on your Vanguard. So basically on the first turn, you can just do this and get a second equipment immediately, and then you can just do your soul blast 2 and gain crit and pop front row straight away. Or you have already been using some of the equipment that is basically a once-off. For example, the sword, you use the skill, you need to ditch it, and then you can pick it back up and use it again, which is very important. And once you have 2 equipment during your turn, this unit will get plus 5k. So can be 80k beater as long as you have 2 equipment. So do be careful if you use some of your equipment that will goes to drop after the battle, then the 5k will be gone. Just make sure you do know that. And that is also why the personal right is like quite important right here, to make sure you have what you need to push through. So let me zoom back here. Okay, now talking about the equipment, first 3 swords for extra penetrating damage. I think is nothing too much we need to talk about. Plus 10k is great, but mainly for the damage penetration or the threats of kind of creating an on hit pressure to your opponents. Is like, if you don't want me to use a skill, you probably take the hit. If you don't take the hit, I will use this to hit you. So just giving them a little bit more thinking time on what they want to do, what they want to react on you, which is always something that I like to do. It's like, I pass the ball to you, you think for your idea, and I don't need to think. What I need to do is just I do the actions, and you think my part too. And then once you decided what you want to do, then I go through that path, which I'm still going to get benefit from it. So less problem on my side. And then 3 of the spear. Spear is the new card, which allows you to equip an extra card and get you to draw one. So even if you can't play another order to equip, you still get a draw by counterblast 1, so it isn't bad at all. And you also get the 10k still, like the sword, just that you don't have the damage penetration, but I think it's still fine. Allowing to draw extra card is always helpful, because you always want to find your PGs, find some more cards to guard, or find your person right, or anything, or even just this. Because once you use up some of your equipment, you do want to get them back somehow. And this is a card that will help you at least increasing the chances to draw into it. And shield. Because I can pick this or the sword up with the great one, I always want to give myself some options. And even if you go first, it doesn't always guarantee that you have enough counterblast to do whatever you want. This is already causing you 2 counterblast, and sometimes this one already causing you 1 counterblast to equip, and you don't have like 2 counterblast, or you don't want to waste a lot of souls while you need to equip that and then counterblast 2 and this is gone. So you do have options on what you want to pick. Sometimes again, early Russian is actually quite scary, and if you have no confidence on your first right grade return that you can do a lot of stuff, sometimes picking a shield is not a bad idea. At least it is a tanky shield for 1 attack, so making some attacks a lot easier to guard already can make your life a lot easier. So I still like 1 shield, and feel free to give it a try. And then 2 of the guns. Increase your drive, also needs to cost you 2 counterblast, and it needs to go to drop, and it is so fast 1 to equip. So it's basically a left side equipment of the sword. So if you go fully offensive, you probably go for this. It's like, okay, I'm increasing 1 drive, I gain 1 crit from my Vanguard, I'm pushing through. You need to guard this, and after you guard this, I put all the trigger powers to my regards, and I use the sword to give you an extra damage to push you to the 5 damage edge, and then I push you through that way. That is your ultimate move, but you need to counterblast 4, and you need to drop both. So once you drop these 2, this will basically get nothing. And since we do have Trick Moon, and Trick Moon relies on how many equipment we have, in order to gain power, if you lose both of them, then you will probably have a hard time. So do be careful if you want to go for a big move. It's sometimes painful because if you don't have another equipment in hand, you can make this active to pick you up another equipment, so you might just sit on with a Vanguard with no equipment for a turn or two, which sometimes creates the turning point for your opponents to push you harder, let you put out all your resources while you're not gaining anything back, and then you will start losing the game. So do be careful with this combo, which I usually will just go for spear and shield, spear and gun, or sword with the shield, and then I switch to spear to do something else. Yeah, there's a lot of combinations you can do, but do make sure you look carefully on your board. Unless you're comfortable with losing 2 equipments for counter blast, then maybe it's sometimes better to do other combinations. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into grade 2. So I'm running 3 of this new card, which is a Silblade Dragon Shikshana. So his name is a little bit hard to tell, hard to pronounce, but he is also a good card. Now, he's only have a on place skill, which you place him on Riga Circle, you ditch a equipment card from hand, draw 1, and he will get plus 5k power for turn. Now, because we don't have a lot of other cards to put down, we always want something that can basically hit Vanguard with just their own power. So this is one of them, plus 5 to go to 15. And then if you somehow get triggers or personal right, at least can bring him to 25, and you just adjust your power from there. Okay, so next we quickly go to grade 1. You see I'm only running 3 of the grade 2s because I'm running a lot more equipments now and running more grade 3s right now, so the room is actually quite tight. And the grade 1s I run is this new card, Ishita, which is a very interesting card because he gains 2k per each card in your Vanguard circle. So if you have 2 equipments, he gets a total of 6k because your Vanguard and then 2 equipment cards, total of 3 cards per 2k is 6k. So just itself can be a 13k attacker, and he can be picked up by your Vanguard as long as you put a equipment up. So quite easy to use, and it's something that is okay to lose because he just go to drop and you can pick it back up, so won't hurt you a lot, which is a good card to recycle, and doesn't cost you anything, so good card. And then 4 of the PGs, again PGs are PGs, nothing much to say. And before we go into triggers, of course we have 4 of the Trick Moon. So this is the key card that you always want to run in this deck, because this is your counter charge source, but you have to call this card to the center back row in order to do that. But your Bavsargra will help you to pick up your Trick Moon. It just sometimes you may need to call over a Trick Moon on a Trick Moon, which is kind of a waste. But if you really need a counter blast for your big move, then you don't have a choice. You still have to do it. And as I said before, that the dress boost he have is only if you have equipments. It doesn't matter which unit this card is boosting, but when boost, he only get 10k per equipment on your Vanguard. So if you use the big move that I just said, then you will lose all your equipment, and this card will just basically turn back to a 5k boost, which is not what you want to see at all times. But when you doing your hard swing, at least this card is a 25k boost, and 25k in overdress era is actually quite big. It's not something that you can simply guard for, and just by doing that you're giving your opponents a lot of hard time. It's kind of like playing Dimension Police before that we push a lot of powers on your Vanguard with crit and we are going in, but for Dimension Police they get guard break sometimes. With this deck we just push hard and trying to do some board wipe, trying to penetrate some damage, and doing something here and there, game drive, in order to meet a lot of more stuff. From there, hopefully we can win. Yeah, so now we will enter triggers first. The Dragon Empire over trigger, because we're standing Vanguard is just great. We just love that. For the sewing crit, because we do need to use a lot of souls. Most of the time I'm still using this card to guard, but if I'm lacking a soul or two, at least I have a way to get it from there. And 4 of the other crits, 3 of the neutral. That can be a 10k shield as long as your opponent is grade 3 or higher Vanguard. But if you do feel not comfortable with only 3 draws, you can feel free to cut this into one of these. That is totally fine. But I am focusing on the pressure I'm giving to my opponent. Is like whenever they see my Vanguard have a crit, even when they are 3 damage, they will guard it because they have a feel, they see a lot of critical triggers coming out and they feel like there's more. Even though we are guaranteed only have 8 max right now, but as long as they see 2 types, they need to be very cautious when your Vanguard gains crit and swing in. If they just simply no guard, sometimes just open a critical trigger will just end the whole game, which is not something they want to see. That is why I'm doing the crit focus. But if you do prefer to draw a little bit more cards, because we do run a lot of grade 3s, a lot more equipments, you want to be a little bit more safe, it's okay to turn into a 4th draw, which is no hurt at all. And then 4 heals. Now this build is actually like very different from my previous build. Not only because we have HASATA, we have the grade 2 with Trick Moon, we have the grade 3s, we have a lot more equipments, which basically use up all the space that I was having for the Blaze Maidens. And also the other reason that I'm like going for this build instead of going back to the Blaze Maiden build and just upgrade from there is I actually get to get 2 equipments together a lot easier with this build, and you just can't ignore the importance of Trick Moon for the boosting power, which is quite important to break through, because this will also give your regards column a lot bigger. As long as you like 3 Trick Moon at the back, you don't even need to go for a big move, you just need to go for like a spear and a shield. You can still push a lot, or even spear and a gun, you can still push enough. So you don't need to lose all 2 of your equipments, you can only lose one and then pick it back up next turn, or play another one from hand next turn, and just building your board. As long as your opponent is not like retiring heavy, you can simply just get all the stuff you want. Because even if your front unit is gone, as long as you have 2 equipments, Ishida can still be a 30k attacker, and then with a Trick Moon to pump him for 25k to go to like 38, that is already good enough as a magic number. And with grade 4 so far, I think we are still standing on 30k Vanguard, so there's nothing too fancy in defensively. Yeah, so this deck still have the potential to win games. It's not a bad deck at all, but since we are playing a lot more equipments, we always get back to the issue when you are playing too many grade 3s, too many orders, that you might not have a lot of cards to guard with. But thanks for the great read. At least we don't feel too much guilty when ditching the equipment to your drop zone because you still have a chance to pick it back up. Yeah, so that's it for this deck profile. Do let me know your thoughts. Give it a like if you enjoy this build and maybe try it out yourself. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel for more other deck profiles and like deck fight videos involving this deck and also other decks. So again, play it. Let me know what you think, and we can discuss from there. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.